Guys, welcome to Justin and Admin Eric Look at Charts on Sunday. Today is May the 18th, 2025. Eric and I were talking. We thought instead of just looking at charts on our own, let's look at some charts together as part of the Good Kids Trading community. If you don't know Eric, if you've ever watched Tasty Trade, if you've ever watched a commercial on Tasty Trade, Eric and I were both in Atlanta. We went to a Bad Traders tour, and Eric is the guy with the GKT hat. He had a mustache at the time, and he said something like, I thought the math was going to be hard. It wasn't. And then it all made sense. So what better person to get on a YouTube than someone who thinks that math is easy? Because I don't really think math is easy, but I love charts and I love trading math-based principles. So if you like that, you should head on over to goodkidstrading.com, check out our free Discord. Eric, let's jump in. What do you think? Look at some charts, maybe? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I like it. And for the record, I have still never seen that video live. And Justin, you love showing me every time it pops up. So I'm going to have to try to catch it one day.
I am going to overlay in this video actually Eric saying that just so you can see, because I swear it's every commercial they go to. It shows Eric. They don't. I talked to the camera too. They only chose the guy who said math is easy. So yeah, let's jump into some charts. Let's kind of talk about this Sunday. I'm looking at some trades for the week. I don't know how Eric does it, but we're going to kind of talk together. We'll look through it. One of the main keys that I use, Eric, and I don't know if you use it, is I really depend heavily on watch lists.
Oh, yeah.
So I build watch lists for stocks under 100, dividend stocks, liquid stocks. Is that what you do, Eric?
Pretty much, yeah. I kind of adapted your stocks under 100, and any stock that I'm interested in trading, I have it on a massive watch list, and that's kind of my what I filter through. And then from there, I have sub watch lists, just like what you're talking about. I got, the S&P 500, the Qs, IWM, just big market things, dividend stuff, earning things. I know that's a big trade plan for you, Justin. So it's on my list too.
Cool. Well, let's jump in. Are you sharing your screen? Why don't you share your screen?
Yeah.
Let's look at some charts. I will open up my charts as well, because we do have a lot of earnings coming up for the week. Not as much as last week, but
yeah, so as you can see, Justin, you posted this in your Discord chat about what you're looking for next week. I went through the same thing, and my list is pretty similar to yours.
Okay.
So nothing too surprising here. But what I thought would be good for today would be just going through a chart that you hadn't seen before. And maybe you have, maybe you haven't, but you're going to walk me through, like, I've never done things with charts. And so I think just to orient people, this is how I set up my trading view. It's a little different than Justin's. I keep a weekly chart on the left. I keep the daily chart on the right, and we might go back and forth, but here's my moving averages, just like Justin has. And then at the bottom is RSI. If you don't know what that is, it's not a big deal. We probably won't even talk about that much today.
Yeah, I think that's all cool.
Sound good to you, Justin?
Yeah, I think this is a great way. I don't know about you, Eric. You think math is simple, but I like to keep the chart simple too. Right. So right. For me, I try to keep, because with the charts, with technical analysis, just like Eric has that graph at the bottom, and he said we probably aren't going to talk about RSI. Well, there's things called DSI, there's things called MACD, there's all these different indicators that you can use. And you're going to see people who swear by a certain indicator. There's certain indicators. If you're new to stock trading, there's certain indicators that tell you buy, sell. And you're like, how easy is that? I'll just buy when it says buy and sell. Don't do that. I want you to build simple indicators. For me, Eric, I don't know about you. For me, I use very simple indicators of moving averages and weekly support and resistance. Those are like on a chart, I don't need all the other graphs. I don't need all the other charts. I just look at those two indicators. Eric, do you have favorite indicators that you use, or?
Truthfully, no. I mean, I put things on my chart, but honestly, the things I look at most are exactly what you talked about. I like the horizontal, so line just going there's a level like this straight across the chart. I also, every once in a while, I kind of get into these like angled lines, something like this, where that can be helpful.
Like a trend line?
Yeah, trend line following. But in general, yeah, these RSI things, those are more confirmation. Those are things like after I have a good idea, if the other indicators line up, then it's another tick to the, like, this is a good trade setup.
So first step, I would say for everyone, no matter who you are, new, advanced, Doesn't matter. I have a guide on Gumroad to set up your moving averages the same way I do. I hear this all the time. Justin, your lines don't line up with my lines. I'm like, I know, that's fine. This is how I set up my line. So Eric has already done that. Okay, Eric has the moving averages here. That's very important. You put on the moving averages. I look at the 10, 20, and 50 EMA for all you people who are a little more advanced. And then I look at the 100 and 200 SMA. If you're not advanced, don't worry. Step by step, I show you how to set up your charts like mine. The second thing we're going to do, and Eric and I are going to do it right now on Chewy, is we are going to set up weekly support and resistance lines. So Eric, I don't know about you. The first thing I do is I zoom out to almost as far as I can without. Yeah, this is great. This is as far as we can go on this chart anyway. So this is good enough for me. And what I am looking for is, let me get out the annotation tool so I can kind of draw on Eric's screen as we go along here. But what I'm kind of looking for is I'm just looking for places where I see wicks. I see upper wicks. I see lower wicks. I see upper wicks. I see lower wicks. And now I want you to look at this. Do you see how I took this inner circle and I expanded it out? So this is 2020 right here. This is 2020. We're looking all the way out to 2023, and we still see the same resistance lines. Resistance, resistance, resistance. As Eric's putting all kinds of things on the screen. This is great.
Yeah.
Resistance,
I'm
resistance.
making my lines bigger for everyone.
That's fine. And then the same thing here. We're just looking for places on the chart where we see support and resistance. And I don't want you to get hung up on this. I don't want you to say, oh goodness, I'm trying to clear the lines, I promise. Oh goodness, there's one little tick here, there's one little tick there. So as Eric is drawing out these horizontal lines, they're going to stay on your chart forever. So when you saw this line right here, if you let this here and these candles kept going higher and higher, eventually we came back to the same levels again. Now, I am a buy low, sell high principle, and Eric's the same way. So I think there should be a line here too, Eric, by the way. But I would put a line here, and I'll use these lines as ways to. So if I'm going to buy this at 51, hindsight's really good. If I bought this at 51, I'm going to sell it at 94.
Yeah.
I know that seems a little bit far-fetched, but it does work. Do you see how, like, the line here at, what is this, $30.48, this line at $30.48 would have been a good opportunity to buy right here. Now, did it go down to 22? Would you have been underwater right here? Yes. Yes, you would have. But if you use, I'm going to buy Chewy every time it goes down to 35, and I'm going to sell it every time it goes to 40, that's a $500 profit on 100 shares. Now, $5 on one share, all right? It just depends on your trading account. But Eric, I don't know if you want to jump into this, but I think a great place to go with this is after you add these weekly support and resistance lines, you can start thinking about, where am I going to buy and where am I going to sell? So what I do is I think, well, where is Chewy right now? Chewy's at $41. This is where Chewy is right now.
Can I take a guess on, are you going through the pyramid here, Justin?
I am look at Eric, he's ahead of me. So I'm thinking, why should we buy all of the Chewy we want to buy right now? The thing about real estate, Eric's a real estate investor, I'm a real estate investor. When we go and we buy a house, you have to buy the whole house at once. You can't just say, hey, you know what? That kitchen, I love that kitchen. I'm going to buy the kitchen of this house. I'm going to buy the bedroom of that house. But with stocks, you don't have to buy everything at once. We can just say, hey, I'll buy a little bit of Chewy here. Maybe I'll buy 10% of my position here. And where can I buy like 20 Eric, where can I buy 20% of my Chewy?
What I see is all these purple lines, and I just wanted to highlight here. I'm going to zoom it in. Well, that messes up Justin's drawings here.
You can go ahead.
You see how, like, it looks very, in my mind, this looks very clunky. I know I made the lines bigger just for the point of this video, but I'm in here, all of a sudden, like, all those lines go away, and then my pyramids make a whole lot more sense. I kind of see exactly what you're seeing. So my next spot would be kind of, well, I guess I'm drawing it. I'm drawing it for you, Justin. I know you like to do this too.
Okay, I'm drawing it. Let me get off my drawings. I get a little too excited. Go ahead, Eric.
Yeah. Yeah. But I think you got the two purple lines, or the lines that we already drew. So you got your 10% here, you got your 20% right here, 30% here, and then right here would be my last draw, like my last purchase.
So you don't have a line right here. There is no line here. Why did you pick this level, Eric?
Right. To me, this looked like a good support resistance zone right there. It looks like it bounced off of there. That's some all-time lows actually for Chewy if I'm zooming out again. And so it'd be a good place to draw a line in the sand, be like, hey, that's my last purchase. And then anything else lower than that, I'm going to call it. If you wanted to be a little more conservative, let's move this line. I think somewhere around here, because that, again, that same nice little drop there. And then this could be my hedge. If it drops below there, then I might hedge.
Just a note to self, for everyone watching, I cannot remove that arrow off of Eric's screen. So that's great. Isn't that cool? Um, yeah, I can't. Okay, cool. So that little arrow will always be in this Zoom, or at least on this chart. I love this, Eric, because like for me, I think we don't have to buy. Too many of us think that we have to buy all of our stocks at one time, because I'm going to tell you right now, I just know Chewy is about to take off and it's going to go without me, and that's fine. That's why I like to just set up like standard levels of like 20, 10, 20, 30, and 40. And now I'm not great with math, Eric. I'm not great with math, but I believe this adds up to 100%.
Yeah, it sure does.
Good,
You
good,
nailed it.
good, good. So what I love to do
So,
is if I'm buying shares, I'll just do something like this, Eric. I don't know about you, but Eric's just moving the chart all over the place, making my lines look terrible. That's fine. I
I
like
gotta
to
help.
just I like to buy 100. My goal, and my goal for you guys as well, for everyone, is to get 100 shares of a position, because you can start trading more options. And in Good Kids Trading, we talk a lot about options. We talk about covered calls. I have a mini course on how I sell covered calls to make income. But that doesn't mean I'm going to buy all 100 shares at 40 when I can go and look into buying shares in this pyramid frame. Now, the only caveat here is that if Chewy does this, let's just say it does this, and it does this, you've only gotten 30% of your position. So you're like, hey, Justin, what do I do if I only get 30% of my position? I only have 30 shares. I wanted 100 shares. That's cool. I get it. If this does happen to you, and it will, it's going to happen to you, what you can start doing is you can start pyramiding in time. So, you can buy 10 shares a week. You can buy 20 shares a week until you get your full position, because Eric and I both use hedging against our options. And when we go out and we look at some of the calls and puts, which we're not getting in today in this video, but there's a lot of this information on goodkidstrading.com, in the blog, in our free Discord. We can buy puts, we can buy insurance. And if we have 100 shares, we're fully investing and insuring ourselves for the 100 shares. But it's not always going to bounce at where you think it's going to bounce. And both Eric and I are really hoping beyond. We are almost certain that Chewy's not getting to 16, from 40 to 16. That's a huge drawdown. And if it gets to 16, I don't know if I still want to own Chewy, Eric. Maybe you do. I know Eric is a Chewy fan.
I'm a Chewy bull. I'm a Chewy bull. I get it.
I don't
But
think I want Chewy at 16. Like if it starts breaking below, I think I'm out on Chewy. I think I'm
so
out.
I was gonna say, like, I like how you always start out looking at the weekly, and it makes a lot of sense, but it kind of hides the noise, because right here, all you see is this chart doing that, like in this little time frame. But when you go to the daily, those same lines are there, and they're still in the same spot, but now you can see all the noise a little better. And I think for me, that helps me refine my pyramid a little bit. And so I agree with you. I don't think Chewy's going all the way down to 16. I hope not. I've been in Chewy for probably way too long. But anyway, that's a different story for another day. In my mind, I think I would probably divide this pyramid up a little bit. Probably want to put another line there, maybe another line here. So let's see, get the annotate out of the way. Now you're better at drawing all these lines on your chart with like all the brushes and things like that, but
No,
if I
I
can
think this
find
is
it.
perfect. I don't think it needs to be perfect. And like, why
Yeah.
did Eric choose this level? Because he sees this right here. He even sees this right here. Like this is perfect. And then Eric probably is going to be putting another line right here. Oh no, he didn't. He put it a little bit higher. That's fine. But
Yeah.
I see where he's looking here. There's what I'm trying to say is just because Eric chose this area and I looked at this area, not one of us is right or wrong. It doesn't matter. You don't have to. This is not science. This is not math. This actually is a little bit of art, a little bit of confidence.
Mhm.
And I think the way I think about charts and the way I think about math is the chart just gives me a little bit more comfort. Like I like to see the chart. I like to see when a stock bounces off of a line, like when a stock bounces off of a line, that makes me feel good, right? Stop moving the chart, Eric. You're killing me. I'm kidding.
Gotta make it
So
hard for you.
I know Eric's making it where it doesn't. So when a stock bounces off the line, right? Resistance. So resistance. That feels good. And then when it breaks above, I'm like, hey, resistance became support. So now I know I can come here and I can buy Chewy off of these off of these purple lines. Like I have purple line. I can buy them off of these purple lines. So I know if Chewy goes to 40, I'd rather buy it at 30. I don't want to buy
It
it at 40, right where it's hitting some resistance. There was a little resistance here. There was a lot of resistance back here in 2024. I don't want to buy it up here when I know it was at 30. And could this happen? Could you get a candle like this? I don't even know if this is a real candle. You could. I missed it. I missed it. So that's my thoughts on that. I'll clear
other
all
thing
these.
too to highlight is, just as Justin, what you were saying, like we see the lines a little differently, but I also think it depends on your bias. I'm bullish, so maybe I want my pyramid to fill a little sooner than yours because maybe you're less bullish, and if you really want to, be in Chewy, your pyramid might be even tighter. It could just be all in this area. So it really just depends on what your bias is, what you think is going to happen, and how patient you are. So I just wanted to highlight that for the folks who are just, there's no right answer here. It's what's right
Yeah,
for
yeah.
you and your account and your bias on the market and on that stock.
I totally agree. And another point I would like to make is Eric and I are talking about shares right now. So we're buying 10 shares, 20 shares, 30 shares, 40 shares. If you can only afford 100 shares, there's a great option called put selling. So you can sell a put if you are agree like on a day like this. Let's go ahead and zoom into the chart just a little bit bigger, Eric.
Yeah, I'm gonna get rid of some of these lines while you're talking, and then maybe I kind of see where you're heading from here. So
Yeah, I'm kind of looking. That's perfect. You can just leave it right there. So what I love to do is when I see a chart or when I see a stock that is hitting the 200 moving average on a chart, I think that's a good opportunity. It may not be let me blindly buy this stock, but that's a good opportunity for you to know that within the last 200 candles, so this is a daily chart. So within the last 200 days, this is the average price that Chewy was trading. If it's up here and the 200 is way down here, that means that the price of Chewy versus the last 200 days is far apart. From 30 to 40. But as Chewy pulls back and it starts hitting this red line, not only is that a good time for you to buy some shares, but you're like, hey, Justin, Eric, I can afford 100 shares of Chewy. Instead of buying them at 32, you can go out and probably sell maybe a 25 put, which would get you 100 shares. And that might be a little too aggressive. Maybe you'd have to buy, it just depends on the strikes. I don't trade this as much as you do, Eric. But if there is a 28, like I'm looking over here. So I'm just trying to figure out where has it been before? Where can I buy it again? So like if there was a 26 or a 27 strike put, this is where I would look to be selling a put on Chewy when it touches the red line. And I hope that's not too, for our newer traders, this might be a little too advanced, but this is a great time for you to start thinking about, hey, the last 200 candles and the current stock price are the same. Let me make an agreement to buy some Chewy even lower. And if it closes, if Chewy goes all the way down, if Chewy does this, I'm agreeing to buy 100 shares here. If Chewy decides, hey, I am going to go like this, then you're never going to have to buy those shares here. But this is a great opportunity. Looking for stocks on red lines is something that I do all the time. And when we go and look at the upcoming earning stocks, which we're about to do shortly, I'm looking for stocks closer to the red line. I'm looking for them closer to the blue line and the red line, which is the 100 and the 200. Now, these could be any color on your chart. They just happen to be the same as mine. I don't know why my zero got that big, but I'm looking for stock prices to trade closer to those two lines. I don't know about you, Eric. What are you thinking? Is that kind of
Yeah, I
what
was
you
gonna
do?
say, like for me, I love when I see this starting to form, because mostly just because it's that compression is exactly what you're talking about. This is the technical term or this is what compression looks like. It's a chart or the stock trading in, what is that, a $3 window? So within a 10% window over the course of about a month. So where's it gonna go? It's gonna go up or down. So you're just placing your bets. For me, I look at the chart, it looks pretty bullish right here. So it's an easy bet to go higher.
You can tell Eric's biased on Chewy. It's cool because
Not
when
at
I look at
all.
this chart, I'm like, hey, hold on, Eric, you're killing. When I look at this chart, I'm like, hey, it's going sideways. Can I continue to make money if Chewy trades sideways? Which you can't tell in this. Can I continue to make money as Chewy trades sideways? Is there ways I can make money from this? And both Eric and I know that there's plenty of options trading strategies where you can actually make money as the stock trades sideways. So you can sell iron condors, you can sell strangles depending on the IVR, depending on
Whoa,
the.
whoa, whoa. You're getting a little too advanced here, Justin.
Okay, I'm
That
sorry. I'm
that
sorry,
those
Eric.
are
I
those are
just
for
get so
another
excited
video.
because I'm going put calendar on Chewy. Okay, I'll stop. I'll stop.
Back then it was good. Now we're in a run. We got to hold off though. But I will say, just for those who are in the inner circle, man, that put calendar's been working out so good. We're only been in a week, but I got some good credit on that roll.
Yeah, I love it. I
Anyway,
also love
now
this trend
that's all
line.
aside.
That's a
Let's
great trend line.
let's
So, are you buying Chewy up here, Eric?
No, 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 no. I will say that I looked at this candle. I know I'm messing you all up, Justin, but
I'm clearing
I
you.
see
Go.
a
That's fine.
I see a hammer right off of all the moving averages on the weekly breaking through a trend line. It's definitely on my watch list. I'm gonna be watching
Guys,
this
he's
one
buying
closely.
Chewy. He's buying Chewy. If you want to know if Eric's buying Chewy, you should go to Good Kids Trading / join the free Discord. Eric is going to post his Chewy trade. I think he's going to play this hammer. I think Eric's playing this hammer.
Oh, buddy, no pressure. All right, well, time will tell,
He's
I
not
think.
because we pick up hammers off the ground. This is far okay. Eric's not buying up here. I know he has a purple line on his chart. I know he has a purple line here, but Eric would like to buy down here. This is where Eric and Justin really want to buy. Eric's already
Absolutely.
in. He doesn't need another 10%. He wants a pullback here. He would love a pullback here. And if he gets Chewy to here, he's like, oh no, what do I have to
Well,
do?
I'll be sweating bullets, let me tell you.
Yeah. So Eric,
All
the first
right.
thing I do when I look at this watch list came from our Discord too, guys. So like, I love to just go out and I go to Earnings Hub, I go to Earnings Whisper on Twitter /X, whatever you want to call it, and I just look for stocks that I like to trade. And then when I go through the list, I can blast through a watch list of 20 or 30 stocks in just minutes of my day, because just like what we talked about with Chewy, I'm looking for the red line and the blue line, and I try to see, is the stock trading near the red line and blue line. How do you handle it, Eric? What are you looking for when you look at your watch list?
Well, I was going to ask you real quick. Are you going to do it? Do you want to look through our earnings, or do you want to go through just my unsorted watch list that I have everything on?
Let's
We
look
can
at
like just,
earnings. I mean, earnings are coming up this week, and
yeah.
people are watching.
Oops.
You know, they might not see Zim on the like. We're recording this on Sunday. It's going to be uploaded on Sunday, but this might be a little too soon. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what the chart is.
Yeah.
So Eric's looking at the weekly chart for all of everyone going at home. I think that's great. Eric's gonna
I love this double view. If you have a trading view prime, like, or the, what is it, premium, whatever the next level up is,
sure.
I keep weekly on the left, daily on the right, and then that way it keeps me straight. It keeps all the lines on there. I know exactly where all the moving averages are. Is this too much, or should I go to one chart, Justin?
Probably too much, Eric. I know
All
math's not
right.
hard. If I'm not allowed to talk about put calendars and iron condors, we're not going to look at two charts today. Not today.
Okay, fair enough.
Maybe a little bit more advanced. This is our first video. We're going to go a little bit more simple. We're going to look at the weekly chart. I think this is great. Um, Eric doesn't have lines on his charts, which is fine. Like the first thing
Zim
I
is not
do
a
is
chart that I follow a whole lot. I'll be
I'm
honest.
with you 100%. So we can kind of see that the 200 and the 100 are here.
I'm
We
just
all
gonna
have
put some on
biases.
here.
I know we all have biases. I wouldn't put them on here. And the reason I don't put them on here is because Zim, hey, Eric, let's look at like the last 5 years of Zim. Yeah, here we go. That's perfect. I'm really sorry about this annotation, guys. I can't get rid of that annotation. I have no idea how to get it. This is so just act like that's not there, everyone on YouTube. All right.
Yeah, don't highlight that.
Yeah, let me not highlight that. So Zim used to be this great stock that paid this dividend of like these dividends sometimes were $15 a share.
Yeah, I remember the 15.
Look,
There it
here,
is.
$17 a share. So when a stock is paying you $17 in dividends, that's really appealing because that's $17 for one share of the stock. There's a reason. There's a reason why they're doing that. They're like, hey, our stock is so bad. We want to entice investors to come in because if you bought this, where's that line? This one right here. If you bought this at $70 a share and you got $17, if you held on to it for what was that, February? If you held on to it for like 6 months, the stock is now trading at $17. So that $17 dividend, it didn't help you. So
To
so
the tune of a 75% loss.
for me, Justin doesn't trade Zim because of this.
Yeah.
Now, if you want to catch a really quick trade on Zim, hey, no judgment from me. I just think there's enough stocks out there to where I'm watching Zim. Zim is on my watch list, but I really doubt I'm trading it. I know their dividend has come down. Like after every earnings, they're going to announce a dividend here. Is it going to be $3? Is it going to be $2? Is it going to be $15? I don't know.
Mm.
But
Yeah, it's
just keep in
highly
mind,
variable.
like if
Yeah.
it's a $3 dividend and it's an $18 stock, if that stock goes down to 11, which is where Eric has his line, you lost money. Like the dividend is just, it's like, hey, look over here while our stock is going down. Look, it's like you're trying to trick your kid into taking a picture, and so you put the bunny rabbit in front of them or whatever it is. That's what I think about with Zim. So for me, I'm not trading Zim. Eric, are you trading Zim? I don't know. It's sitting on the blue lines. It's sitting on a lot
Probably
of
not.
moving averages.
Now, if it gaps, like if it has actually good earnings, like it looks like it has in the past, and it gaps down a little bit, there's a small chance, but it is not going to be a big position by any means. I'm not interested in holding this long term. I do see the Zim trucks driving or the shipping crates driving all over the place, so that's they're not going out of business. But yeah, I agree with you. If they cancel their dividend, anytime a dividend company cancels a dividend, that's also a warning sign in my mind. You see here, it looks like $6.40 in April, and then nothing for an entire year, and then now 23 cents. So I don't know. Yeah, it's not a high priority for me to trade this one.
Sure.
So
Home
let's just
Depot is a
like
different
rapid fire
story.
through some of these other ones. I
Yeah,
don't
let's just
have
kind of run through
lines on
like
most of
what
these
I'm looking
charts.
for is I'll just tell you guys right now. I'm looking for moving averages. So Home Depot's extended off the moving average, right? Moving average 338. Home Depot's trading at 374. But Eric, if Home Depot on Tuesday morning has a gap down, where do you think I would be looking to pick up some Home Depot?
Well, I mean, I have a line here. So I use green lines. I know Justin likes purple lines, but this is where my line is on the weekly chart based on all of this. So my guess is if it gaps down, you're looking right around that 200 moving average in that line.
Yeah, we have
It's,
two lines here. Now, what's probably going to happen is if they miss, they're probably going to gap to this moving average. That's fine. But if we could pick up some, like the difference, 333 versus 338 doesn't really matter. If we could pick up some Home Depot in this area and just hold it for a quick bounce, I think that would be great. And Eric, let's jump over. Maybe we shouldn't look through the whole watch list, but
yeah,
let's look at a really good example right now that came to my mind. I don't know if it does, but
yeah,
type
yeah.
in
What's up?
Starbucks for me. Let's look at Starbucks. Both Eric and I traded Starbucks. Let's head over to the daily for me. We're gonna look at the daily chart on Starbucks. They just had earnings. I think that's 2 weeks ago, right? They had earnings
Yeah,
2 weeks ago, and as you can see, it's kind of hard to see on Eric's chart, but like it gapped down overnight.
Yeah,
Was it
I
like
got you. I
9%?
got you, Justin.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, from close to open. Yeah, we're like, yeah, 10%, something like that overnight.
Yeah, so it gapped down 10%, and both Eric and I took trades on this one. A little bit different. We posted them in our Discord, but I sold some puts. I think Eric sold some puts, but then I bought a zebra. Not allowed to talk about complicated. I bought a stock replacement using options to take advantage of, hey, is Starbucks going to gap down and run straight up, which it did, and I made, I think, like $300-400 overnight. Like the next day, that options position was up $300-400. I jumped into some shares about dividend. Not going to get into too much detail. We covered all of this real time as it happened. But if Home Depot does something like this, where they gap down 10%, that is a buying opportunity. Now, can Home Depot continue to go down 20%? Yes, it can. And that's just something that we have to think about. Like, I think of stocks as assets. Like, these are assets. A share of this company is asset. I know how Home Depot makes money. I know how Starbucks makes money. Okay,
Well, and
I'll
let's
hush.
let's
Go
let,
ahead, Eric.
let's talk about a good example of that because everyone always wants to know what happens when things go wrong. The example in my mind is in TTD. So way back here, I'll be honest, I'm not big into the tech and all that kind of stuff. So I couldn't tell you all the ins and outs of what TTD does, but it dropped 30% overnight on earnings. And so what we did is, at least I did, and you can see like whenever I did it, I put a little line in my chart there. That's now old news. But I sold the put somewhere, I think mine was initially around 75. And let's go out to the weekly because it's so far away. But yeah, that earnings, so 75. That in my mind, yeah, I saw the red line, like Justin was saying, and then all this support and resistance all right here. So, and then you can see it just kept selling off. And then April happened, and everyone knows what April looked like. But wouldn't you guess? It's we had to, sit through another earnings cycle, but here we are back up. It had a huge gap up. All the puts that I sold there are looking much better. Had a 17% gap up. So, and actually, I think I'm positive on this trade now. It did take, I've been in this trade now for 3 months, but no big deal.
Well, I wouldn't. I'm not sure I'd say it was no big deal, but yeah,
Well, if
I'm
you're
with Eric.
sized
I
right,
I also sold those 75 puts, and I really do love how the trade desk has come back to a point that is very close to where it was before, which kind of makes sense on the charts. It kind of lines up with a moving average, so it would make a lot of sense for trade desk to do something like this for a little while. I think this is a great trade. I am actually profitable on this one as well. And this is something we posted in our Discord, so you can follow along if you don't believe us. But I think this is a great example, Eric. Good point.
yeah, yeah. So it's just the time will tell. And honestly, I trusted the trade desk mostly because of the folks around in Good Kids Trading. There's quite a few people. Shout out to Easy Knight, how much he really liked this company and he understands how it works. And I just took him at his word.
Well, yeah, but Eric also knows that math is easy. So Eric looked at the math and he said, hey, the math makes sense. And this guy in the Discord is saying stuff that kind of makes sense. And hey, the chart kind of makes sense. So those three things together, you have a high
Yeah.
probability trade. I love it, Eric.
The last piece of that, Justin, I want to say is sizing right. I'm not selling every dollar's worth of buying power in my account on this one trade. If this trade went to zero, yeah, my account would have hurt, but I would not have been blown out of the water. I would have been able to keep trading and keep going. And that's one of the big things that we also talk about a lot on in the GKT community is just making sure that you are not putting too much on any one trade. You don't want to be losing sleep at night because your trade is too big. If you are, that's your first clue that your trade is too big.
Yeah, I agree. Because like when we look over here at Home Depot, it's a $380 stock, right? Medtronics is an $80 stock. Wix is 182. I can't believe Wix is 182. But look, you don't want to be
Yeah.
trading Home Depot with the same amount of shares that you're trading Medtronics with the same amount of shares that you're trading Wix with. You need a set risk for each one of your positions. And they should, one of the biggest things that I see is that people often have an outsized position. And massive concerns on my part if your largest position is also your company's stock. And that happens for a lot of people. You get stuck into that ESPP where you're like, oh, it's an employee's, I get 15% below the last 90 days of the stock. So every quarter I'm getting my company stock at the, well, here's the problem. When your company turns out to be Enron, I think Eric's old enough for Enron, but for the
I
other
remember.
people who just quite aren't old enough, look up Enron. Like they had this huge retirement account. Everybody was basing their entire paycheck and their stock portfolio on the same company. So size appropriately. Just like Eric said, this you're never going to always be right in the stock market, but if you keep your positions manageable, one or two bad trades isn't going to kill you. And the other three or four trades that you have on, or 15, however many, that's going to keep you and preserve you through downtrends like we just had in April. Like April was a significant drawdown for a lot of people in Good Kids Trading, but we made it through because we understood, listen, we need to be able to preserve through, we're at all-time highs. It's really hard to just keep going up forever. So I think that's a great point, Eric.
Yeah, yeah, just a casual 20% drawdown in the big market, not a big deal.
It really is kind of normal. I just feel like the move was so aggressive
Oh,
during 3
yeah.
or 4 of those days. Like, a couple of those candles just felt so aggressive,
Yeah,
but, like, a 20% drawdown is actually normal for every 3 to 4 years. It just
yeah.
felt really aggressive to me. So these are the stocks we're looking at. I don't know where the for me, my game plan is I don't even really care where the stock is now. I care where the stock is the morning of. So as Eric has it, like on Wednesday morning, I'm going to be hoping that Medtronics and Wix has a gap down because that's an opportunity for me. Palo Alto Networks, another great opportunity for me to get into some shares. Now, if they keep going higher, I'm just not going to take trades on earnings. I don't trade before earnings. I don't know how Eric feels about it, but for me, I would just wait for that binary event to be over. I'm kind of hoping for a gap down like we saw in Starbucks and then a huge gap up. Eric, do you like to trade before earnings or after earnings? What's your preference?
That's I think, Justin, you and I have been through the ringer on before earnings trades. We tried defined risk, undefined risk. We tried everything, and then there's a few strategies that work for, maybe one cycle, but then the next cycle you try the same strategy and you lose everything you made the previous cycle. And then, not to mention the fact that you got to just be on the market right when it opens to manage the trade because your winner can turn to a loser in 15 minutes. Yeah, it was just too much. It doesn't fit my lifestyle. It doesn't fit what I'm trying to do with trading. I'm looking for set the put my good to cancel order, and then I just love seeing those notifications hit my phone. But yeah, so in short, I don't trade pre-earnings trades anymore.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. All right, guys. I don't know how many people are still here. If you're still here, I appreciate your time. Eric and I aren't going to take any more of your time today. I think we've gone through a lot of the things that we look at. I like to keep it simple. Eric thinks math is simple. I will agree with him in the fact that Tasty Trade makes it really simple for me to do the math because they give me the probability of profit on the screen. And when I can see I have an 80% probability of profit and I can combine it with moving averages and keep it super simple, I feel good about it. But I really appreciate all of your time, Eric. It was great to talk to you.
Yeah,
If you guys
yeah,
haven't already, hold on 1 second, Eric, and I'll shut up. If you haven't already, go to goodkidstrading.com. Click on the blog, click on the Discord, join our free community. We're keeping it free. Like we're sharing our trades real time. I take like 5, 6 trades a day. I don't even know how many. I'm putting all my trades online for free just so you can follow along. I want you to learn the process of what I'm doing real time just so you can see this is not that hard. So Eric, take us away. Close it out for us.
yeah, yeah. Thank you guys for coming out, for watching us. Let us know what you like, what you don't like. We're here to help you out. If you want the math to be explained, we can do it. Justin can do it too. He's making it sound like it's a big complicated thing. You guys got this. It's easy. Just join us and learn.
Yeah, I agree. Have a great day, everybody. We'll see you next week right here on the YouTube channel. I hate when people say it, but subscribe, click the little bell to get notified. It really does matter. Have a great day, everybody. Talk to you soon.